know, dude. It looks crazy. The wheels are like so far off. This side is just like, I don't even know if you tighten the camber kit. Just keep it straight. Oh, no, you're good, man. You're okay. You gonna follow me? Yeah. Okay. What's up, guys? As you just saw, we just got the car lined, so we're now running a negative 2.5 camber all the way around, and with a 0 toe. Now we're addressing that oil leak. You can see, if you saw the last video where we finished up the eBay exhaust and the timing belt kit, it was smoking a lot, and a lot of that is from what you're seeing on the ground right there. The axle seal on the driver's side seems to be leaking, even though we had put a brand new one in there. So we bought another one. We're gonna take it off right now. Chris is working on getting the axle out. We're gonna see if we can fix that issue today, because that's the only thing that's really making a lot of mess with the car and all the smoke behind it. On the way back right now, when we drove back, I was following him, and there really wasn't much smoke coming out of the exhaust at all. So that's a good sign the engine's not smoking as bad. So we're gonna get a little work done on it, see if we can get it completely buttoned up and ready for the next track event we have coming up shortly.
I want to say this side's leaking too.
Both?
For sure, this one.
Yeah. The passenger side also looks like?
Yeah.
Interesting.
You usually can get this under there?
Yeah, I do it at an angle. Slide it in and just pop it.
There it goes, John.
You got it?
Yeah, it's leaking.
Okay.
You want to throw me your rack?
Here. Quite a bit?
Yeah.
It's okay. Spread that rag out, it's gonna go everywhere. There you go. Perfect. I guess it's gonna drain the excessive fluid out.
That's excess?
Yeah, it shouldn't usually be higher than the edge of the seals right there.
Yeah.
You want a screwdriver instead?
Yeah, I mean, I got
Okay.
the ring out.
Okay.
I mean, the spring.
Here's this one if you want. This one's,
Okay.
that one might work a little better.
Alright.
It's okay. Let me just grab the oil pan instead. Yeah, if you don't see any, we can just drop them back in. I think that's the only one that I have. Because I used one on the ZC engine. So we'll try that one out. Hopefully it works.
Is there a way to test it before you plug it in?
Not that I know, no. Because it's all heat operated.
That's too sensitive.
While we're waiting for the oil to finish up, a lot of it was coming out of the transmission still. You can see it still spilling out. We're gonna let that kind of level itself off, and at the same time, the fan is on right now, so we hear all that noise, and also have another fan pointed on it. Trying to cool the engine down because we want to change the fan switch out. These are located on the back of the engine. This is what triggers your fan to turn on at a certain temperature, but it's not happening on this car. So that's why we have it just rigged up to a ground and to the power. So we're gonna swap that out real quick and see if we can get the fan to work as it should. So what we're doing first, we're gonna salvage the coolant that's in there because it's brand new. This is an old Gatorade container that I always use for anytime I want to reuse OEM Honda coolant. So you have to drain it because that switch I just showed you, it's located, I can't really see it from here, the back of the engine block right here. So once you pull that switch out, if you have coolant in the engine, it'll all come gushing out and making a mess. So we're gonna try to drain as much as possible out. That way we can salvage it and not just waste all this coolant. Okay, and here's the position of that fan switch. Now I was asking him, when he reconnected these, he took the wiring harness out a while back, and then he fixed a lot of the broken wires. When he plugged them back in, I think he plugged in the oil, the fan switch ones to the oil pressure and vice versa. So we're gonna check on his dash right now and see if the oil pressure light comes on when he turns the ignition switch. It's something I haven't had a chance to check. Okay, so we're gonna test it. Go ahead and turn it real quick. Yeah, see how there's no oil pressure light that came on? So we're gonna swap a couple of the wires around and see if that fixes the issue. Okay, look, we swapped two of the wires around, and check it out now. When you turn the keys to the ignition, oil pressure light turns on. Now it would turn off once I turn the ignition on, but we have the axle out still, and we're gonna change that seal real quick, and then we're gonna test it out and test the fan by warming the car back up. Okay, we got the seal on, and we're gonna test the fan out right now, but first, this car has always had the O2 sensor back on top of the exhaust manifold, and it was an OBD1 sensor never plugged in. So we're gonna go ahead and, we can't seem to find the plug on his wiring harness, so I have an extra clip. We're gonna wire this O2 sensor directly to the ECU. So we're just gonna get that plugged in real quick. Then we'll warm it up and test out the fan, see if we can get that working properly. And we got the O2 sensor wired directly to the ECU. That is position C16 on the clips if you're interested. The reason being, we could not find the wiring on his harness anywhere. Like, the plug was not sitting here, and he had taped it up and cleaned up some of the wiring, so that's the reason why we went ahead and did that. No, not at all. This should fit perfectly fine because see how it's already, there's room on the edge of it?
Oh, okay.
It should fit perfectly fine onto yours since it was on the 90 before I pulled it off. Okay, we got the oil light issue fixed. Now we're just gonna let it warm up and check the operating temperature, see if we can get the fan to work as it should now. All right, we've got the fan working, guys, and we warmed it up to operating temp. And it didn't kick on, it actually rose above the halfway point. So we stopped the car, and I had an extra relay. This is the fan relay. This sits right next to the intake. So I just went ahead and changed it real quick. The minute we plugged it in, the fan kicked right on. So all it was ended up being on this car was the fan relay and the wires being mixed up on the back of it. One thing I wanted to look at when I did a video on this is the EF parts camber kit, and I did it versus the Skunk 2. Now this one has the original EF parts ball joints, and so we're at negative 2.5 camber, and there's still a little bit of room to slide it out a little more. So I don't think you can get like a perfect camber. Obviously if you're using a camber kit, most people aren't going to try for like a 0.0 camber anyway. But I was curious on to see how much room was still left over. I was even curious if we were able to get to negative 2.5, but he had no issue at all. And so now we get to actually test it out at the track. And as you can see, I put those energy suspension little sleeves on it instead of the ball joint that had cracked apart. So the other axle seal seemed to still be leaking. We fixed the issue on the driver's side. So we ran over to O'Reilly's, grabbed another one real quick, and luckily they had it in stock. So he's working on that. Gonna get that replaced really quick. While he's doing that, I'm gonna work on, we're gonna do that headlight mod that I did on my track car. We're gonna do it also on the driver, the bright side. That way you can still use this as a regular running light whenever he needs to. Oh, big time. It was like that without you prying at it, or did it happen when you were prying at it?
No, before I pried at it.
So that's the reason why. Is it the same size?
No, John.
And here I got the headlight finished up, opened up. Might need to open up the back a little bit more so we can figure out how we're going to use the tube. But we'll get that on there and it should be looking and functioning perfectly fine, just like mine does. Lastly, it's a couple days later now. He painted his valve cover yellow. I think it came out really nice. It's a nice contrast in the engine bay, especially with everything silver. He's gonna get the windshield replaced. We're gonna put a yellow banner on there, similar to my green and green setup. And right now, we just took the bumper off. He was putting it back on the air box, since he's gonna run a short ram, and then we're gonna put that headlight on eventually. Just throwing the air box back on there for now. And he has a tow hook that we're gonna put on. It's one of those tow straps. And I was asking him when we pulled the bumper off, there was these holes already cut here, but we're unsure why. So that makes it really convenient because we were checking the strap. We're gonna mount it right here. And it's cool, on the CRX bumper, there's like this little slit. And it's gonna fit perfectly through there. So we don't really have to modify anything. And then since they have the hole cut, we'll be able to feed the tools in there and tighten up the nut on the opposite side of the front bumper support. See, luckily we were able to feed the wrench in there, and we started this. Now we're just gonna finish tightening it up. I'll show you how it looks after we have it installed. See, here's what we're talking about. After we have it mounted, you just kind of tuck it in, and that fits perfectly through there. And here's what we're talking about. That little slit was perfect. So now it's just gonna hang off the front of the bumper right there. I guess we could essentially do this too. I would do this on my car. I would actually bend it down and leave it tucked in.
Until it needs to be used.
Yeah, until you actually utilize it, so that way it's not getting, and just flapping around, and not that it matters. But either way, if you just wanna leave it out, it looks cool too. And here's a final look at that engine bay. Just new distributor, got the intake, everything else stock, has that DC header that came with the car. All the hoses are changed and some of them are upgraded to the silicone. Still has a stock clutch and stock motor mounts, everything else. Here's a look at that interior. Looks considerably better than it did before. You wouldn't even know it's the same car by looking at the interior. Especially with the seats that he replaced. Those look really, really sharp in there. And then everything in the back, all the cargo covers and mounts, everything is now replaced in there also. He also threw on the mud flaps from, these are from CRX Dude. I'm sure some of you guys may follow him on Instagram. I sold him these JDM taillights quite a while ago. It was before I even bought my CRX. So we threw those on. Look real nice with the all amber corners. And Chris is going with the smoked corners and bumper lights. We threw on some HIDs that I had laying around in my garage because there weren't any headlight bulbs present. And then of course you guys just saw the Takata tow strap. Now he still has his regular tow hooks on there. We may take those off eventually. Is there plans for innovative bar?
Yeah, when's the swap?
Potentially? Okay. Once he does a swap, we'll actually probably throw some sort of cross member on there, more than likely the innovative one. And that pretty much covers it for any sort of exterior upgrades. Everything is now working as it should. One thing we didn't show, he fixed his brakes when, well, he didn't fix them, we just got new ones. New upgraded pads and rotors. You got EBC, right?
Yeah, red stuff.
EBC red stuff pads. What kind of rotors were they?
EBC.
EBC as well. So he upgraded the brakes on the car, so it's ready there. System is flushed. Not having any issues with the braking any longer. Of course, you just saw what we did with everything. The cooling, fan works as it should. Switch, everything's plugged in. And the suspension set up now with taking it over there and getting the car completely aligned. We have negative 2.5 camber all around on it. The wheels are a little different, as you see from the beginning of the video. After we had it aligned that day, he swapped out. He had some Steelies on here, and these are from his 90 SI. So he put on these. There's some Koenig Heliums with some Kumo XS tires, 205/50. So good setup. I've always liked the black wheels on silver CRXs. Looks really, really sharp that way too. So that'll be it, guys. Next video, you'll probably catch us out at the track. We have an event coming up here real shortly. Now we're gonna actually get on the track, give it a shakedown, see how well it does, and hopefully nothing breaks or falls apart. But thanks for checking it out, guys. I'm gonna include a couple clips of, well, actually I'm gonna link the older video when we first bought the car up in the upper right corner, so if you guys wanna take a look at that and see how far it's come. We have all the other videos at the end of this. I'll have them linked there as well if you want to see some of the progression of it. We'll see you guys next time.